Every year, our 5th grade students read the novel The Watsons Go to Birmingham. And every year they have no context for the setting of the story, which takes place in Birmingham, Alabama in 1963. So I wanted to design a unit that would help the students understand some of that context. So ideas like racism and segregation and the Jim Crow laws and leading up to the power that people have to change things in our government. So over the summer I had the opportunity to go down to the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. And I visited the National Museum for African American History and Culture. And it was such an incredibly moving experience. Just walking through those floors and seeing all the artifacts that exist. And I wanted to bring some of those authentic artifacts back to the classroom so that the kids could really connect with those ideas. We're going to talk about the definitions of these two words on the board. What does equality mean? What does racism mean? So we'll start with equality. I'd like everybody at your group to take out one of the blue sticky notes from the bin in the center. And on that sticky note, I'd like you to write down just one idea, either a word, a synonym, or a definition, if you already know one, about equality. What does equality mean? It's okay if you're not sure. Write down what you think.
Everyone is able to do everything that anyone can do.
Okay, which are the top two in your group, you think?
Equality.
What did you guys choose?
We said equal rights because everybody else said it.
Okay, go ahead and pop that up. For most of the kids, this is the first time that they're really having some of those big conversations about race and injustices and the conditions that were sort of the bedrocks of our country. We take some time to dive into the history of that. So we start talking about basically the end of the Civil War and changes to the Constitution. So we focus in on the three big amendments to the Constitution, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. And we talk about how the Constitution is a living document. So we're able to make changes as we need to. Our government isn't perfect, and we can make changes as conditions change in our world around us. I want you to start your exploration looking at a photograph. We're going to do a little see, think, wonder about what's happening in this photograph. And I'd like you to be as specific as you can about the things that you see, okay? You're just noticing what is in this photograph, in the see column. And then in the think column, you're gonna write down what you think about what you see or what you think is going on in this image. And then that last one is the wonder column. This is where your questions go. What do you wonder about what's going on here? What do you wonder about some of the things that you're seeing? So you see that this one over here has sort of a cabinet attached to it. It looks nicer, newer, more money in this one. And this one, not as nice. Once we talk about it in class, they realize, you know, I need to know a little bit more about this. So they do a little bit of research, they dig a little bit deeper, and they have discussions and debates in their groups about, well, I think this is the most important thing to include, and here's why I think that. But that all comes from the modeling that we do in class together and supporting our thinking with evidence. And once we look at those authentic artifacts, trying to understand what was going on and influencing the people in those photographs and making the things that we look at. So on a foundational level, I think the students gain a lot of insight into the injustices that were a really dark part of our history. I think that gets glossed over a lot in some of the textbooks and basic, history lessons, but it really impacted the way our nation developed. So in talking through some of that, I think their eyes are really open to just some of the injustices that people faced on a daily basis. And beyond that, I think it helps them to feel a real sense of civic responsibility and really a sense of power, the power that the people have to make changes and the power that the people have to influence what the government does. So in all of our discussions, I think they really take away a sense of, I am one person, but even one person can make a huge difference.